Hey, I'm live. It's midnight. I needed to do a show though. It's been a little while. So I was gonna do a show tonight about getting out of prison. The kind of the last day you get out, the things you run into. Just something to talk about. And if anybody comes in the chat room, we can always talk about that. First, I'm gonna play my little intro for you here, and I'll be right back. Out my life, wonder where did I go wrong? Sometimes I start to wonder. Alrighty, and I'm back. So let's check out the chat room here. Anyways, this is Federal Prison Talk. My name is Sean, and I did a 52-month sentence for wire fraud. And they sentenced, I was in Florence, Colorado at a federal prison camp. And if you don't know what a camp is, it's the lowest level of prisons they have in the federal prison system. It's so low of a level, they don't have a fence around the prison. They have out-of-bounds signs. And you can walk away anytime you want. And some people do. And I hear they add somewhere between 2 to 5 years to your sentence, depending on the conditions. If you were to walk away from the camp and, I don't know, change your mind and walk back in, you'd get at least 2 years. And depending on what you do when you're out there and your charges and how long you had to go and your criminal history, things like that. But it's 2 to 5 years. I mean, I'm sure they could lock you away for the rest of your life if they want to. That's the federal system. So if you were going through federal pretrial right now and you're watching this show because something caught your attention, you're in for quite a journey, my friend. The pretrial was the hardest part of the whole deal for me. So I got indicted in 2012, but my house got raided in 2011. It's 2023 now. That's 12 years of my life. I'll never get back. I did about 3 years actual prison time. And there was 6 months halfway house time. There's 4 years of pretrial waiting to get sentenced. You can stay at home. Some people are locked down at home 24 hours a day with an ankle bracelet. Some people are allowed to go to work and come home. Some get a little more freedom. Me, I had to do so I was locked up. I didn't make my court date after I got indicted. I showed up for the first one to get indicted, and I showed up for the second one. And so because they had changed their mind, and all of a sudden they wanted to do a follow-up with the pretrial officer because I hadn't been assigned one or anything. I thought the first time when I went in to get indicted, and they'll let me know when the next court date was. Well, they didn't let me know when the next one is because they had a scheduled one. Anyway, so they detained me in the Oakland Federal County Jail there. They have a little section for federal inmates. But they let me go out on a drug program. It was a 6-month attack therapy program called Newbridge in Berkeley, California. And after I did that, then they said I could stay at sober living houses. And then they had me probably pee in a cup 2-3 times a week, pretty much the whole time of the 4 years and check in. And I wasn't allowed to go out after 10 o'clock, believe it or not. And I had to call the pretrial officer almost every day and check in. And a lot harder than probation was, believe it or not. And you finally get sentenced. I got sentenced after 4 years. And so I got 52-month sentence, and with your good time, and I got RDAP, which gives you a year off your program. And Trump stepped in. I got a few months extra for that, and for step back and stuff. And did about 3 years, and then a halfway house. Then 3 years federal probation. So I got off last year right before Christmas. 12 years of hell, man. So if you're watching the show, and you're indicted, you got a long journey ahead of you. And I'm here to tell you, if you are out on a pretrial and you're watching this show, chances are you're going to a camp or a low facility. I barely hear people that go to the mediums in the penitentiaries that were home on pretrial. Usually they're locked up the whole time waiting sentencing, and that's worse. If you are on federal pretrial, here's the deal. Let's say you violate. Let's say you cross state lines. I had a fiance and I wasn't allowed to talk to her. I had co-defense, wasn't allowed to talk to them. If I had talked to, I Facebooked the girlfriend, fiance once, and she went and told the pretrial officer that I did that. They had a special court hearing, and they could have violated me. I got lucky. For some reason, the Magistry liked me. Now, a Magistry and a federal judge can be the same thing, but normally the Magistry is the one that is presiding over your pretrial time that before you get sentenced. The Magistry is somebody you'll check in with maybe once a month, maybe every 2 months, maybe every 3 months. Any changes come up, they always call another court hearing where you would check in with the Magistry. Like for me, said hello to my girlfriend on Facebook, and I used a different Facebook account, and I made a fake Facebook account of a woman, and I said hi to my girlfriend. I said, hey, this is me. I'm just using this account to talk to you. Big mistake. Well, they did me a favor. We're going to get married, and I'm kind of glad we didn't now, because after she got indicted, didn't take her long to find a new boyfriend and all that. And plus, then I found out she was wearing a wire, trying to, get time off her sentence and, snitch on me, as they say. And when I tried to contact her on that Facebook, I knew I wasn't allowed to, but I did anyways. Yeah, they could have sent me back. Now, had they sent you back, guess what? You don't get any credit time served for that. And it was going to be 4 years till I got sentenced. So I could have been locked up in the jail for 4 years. And I only did 3 in the camp at the prison. So I'd have done another 3, or maybe they gave you more when you're locked up. You kind of get a longer sentence, really, because you have no ways to impress the judge that you've changed your ways, and you've learning from your mistakes, and which you get to do while you're on pretrial. I mean, I served food at homeless shelters. I went to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, and I even worked for volunteered for Alcoholics Anonymous at their main central office. I would go in there and clean their bathrooms, and staple schedules, and do mailing labels and stuff, all kinds of stuff for them. And I did that every Friday, and all this stuff impressed the judge. The character reference letters that I had, people helped me write, things like that. All this stuff's going to impress the judge. Hopefully that judge gives you the lighter end of the sentence, goes easy on you, looks at you like, hey, you're already doing some things to change. Maybe I don't have to give you 20 years. There are some judges that could care less. They think it's all a Ponzi scam, that you're just trying to get less time off. And but my judge said, yeah, I know you've done all these things, and that's great, and maybe you're just doing it to get time off your sentence. But my judge said, the fact that you went out and did them anyways, that impresses me. And you've been doing it for I was 4 years on pretrial, but I didn't start doing it till like my first or second year in. And she was, yeah, you've been doing this almost 3 years. So all, volunteering, all this stuff, and you kept it up. She says, see, that impresses me. That shows me that you can keep doing it. You can change, and you can keep changing. She says, now I might sentence you today, and for all I know, you're going to go rob a bank and shoot up heroin. But I don't think you're going to do that today. Are you, Mr. Calgill? And I said, no, I'm not. And I got to say my little talk to the judge about what I have learned about myself on pretrial, what I plan to do once she sentences me, because I knew she was going to sentence me. And instead of 96 months that I could have got, I got 52 months. And judges have the power to do that. I just talked to somebody who did a show last week. They screwed him over. He got 13 years for some drug charges, where most people get 5 to 8 years for that. He's about to go in April 11th. So next week I got to give him a call. And his judge was just the worst hardcore judge you could think of. And I haven't heard of a judge doing that in a long time, but they can. And I don't know if he did everything in his power to convince a judge that he was changing, but he had a leadership role, which I had too. And mine was wire fraud, but some judges don't like that. Some judges judge you, period. And they get to, because they're a judge. You got to be real careful out there. Let's see. I was going to talk today. I'm going to show you some papers I got. I just scanned them. Let's see if I can put them on here. So come release day, whether you're doing 5 years, 10 years, 1 year, 6 months, whatever your time is, To get released from prison it's not always just that easy. Mr. Smith, it's your day. Go ahead. You get to go home. No, in the federal system, most people have to check in at a halfway house, even if they've got to go do some home confinement or halfway house. And a lot of people always talk about that while they're locked up. I got 6 months halfway house because RDEP kind of gives you that. Some people can get up to a year, 18 years. 18 months is, I think, the maximum you're allowed to be in a halfway house, released early from prison, unless you've got compassionate release papers or things like that. There's the CARES Act, things like that, medical conditions, things like that can send you home early to home confinement release, which is also ran by the halfway houses. A lot of people don't know. They think probation runs that. When you get released to a halfway house or home confinement, you're still an inmate. You just get to finish your time at your house or at the halfway house, but you're still an inmate. And a lot of conditions come with that. And the halfway houses aren't. I still would have took the halfway house because I got to work and save some money up. But when you're done with work, you come straight back to that halfway house. You got to blow in a breathalyzer. Mine had a Q-tip swab thing. They swab you to see if you need any drugs every day. And they strip us. They check us, pat us down. You got to take your shoes off. Sometimes you got to take all your clothes off just to go in. I mean, if you're just going out every day, mine let us out for an hour a day for recreation time. You could walk to the store or just sit on the corner. They didn't care. You had an hour a day to do that. I think they all stopped that with the pandemic. But if I went out for 10 minutes on that hour and come back, I still got to breathe in the breathalyzer, Q-tip swab the DNA, for the drugs, and take everything out of my pockets, everything, take my shoes off, all that stuff, just every time. So, and then you go to your cell. It's not a cell, but some people have big dorms. They stay at halfway houses. So there was 3 beds in my room, and then I got one with 2 guys. Some of the rooms had 8 people in them. We were in an old hotel in the Tenderloin district in San Francisco, probably the worst, nastiest neighborhood in San Francisco. Hunters Point might be right behind it, but it's a pretty bad neighborhood. Tent city, homeless tents everywhere. People are shooting up in front of the door. I mean, when you walk out of the door of this halfway house, just homeless people and prostitutes, junkies, pimps, whatever's out there. I mean, it's there. It's a real bad neighborhood. But they know when you come out of the halfway house that everybody knows that's for people coming out of prison. Ours was shared with state inmates too. It was 3 stories. There's 300-400 people staying there at a time. Food was nasty, pretty nasty food. But they do let you bring your own food. You could order pizzas, things like that, if you got the money for that. So let me see if I can pull something up here. Show you some paperwork that they give you. They give you when you get released from prison to go to the halfway house. You're still an inmate, like I said. So what they give you is furlough papers. And sometimes you can get a furlough, like if somebody dies at the lower facilities, maybe sometimes even in a penitentiary. Say your father dies and you want to go to the funeral. I think if it's within 500 miles, you're eligible to request to go to the funeral. All kinds of conditions go with that. They don't always do it to everybody. You have to have no write-ups while you're there. You have to be like a, model inmate, basically, to get a furlough. But in the camps, they have social furloughs. It's like a weekend pass. You get once every 18 months, you can apply for that. Once every year and a half, you can go out for the weekend. Social furlough. I've seen maybe 8 guys get it. Some people think it's a myth that never happens. I've seen at least 8 guys do it. Social furlough or a religious furlough. Certain religions have different holidays. There's Christmas. You've heard of that. That could be a religious furlough. There's the Jewish and the Muslim and the Hindu, and they all have certain holidays and things and rituals and things that they practice that are almost couldn't do while you're in prison. So they will allow you to go on a religious furlough. Now, I don't know if that's once every 18 months or not. Some of it's usually once a year, so that could be an extra furlough besides your social furlough. If you have to go to get an operation at a hospital or something, surgery, they give you a medical furlough. And when you're going to get ready to go to the halfway house or to home confinement, you're still an inmate, so you get a furlough. You got to apply for that early. If you don't have the furlough signed and all that, come your release date, you're not getting released. A lot of other things. I want to get into detainers before they release you. They're going to check to see if the state wants you, the county wants you. If anybody has a detainer and you got to go do some time somewhere else before they release you. And normally they'll tell that other facility to come pick you up, and they might take a year to come get you and pick you up. And your time might have been done with everything. Even had they picked you up and you only got to do 30 days, but they take a year to come and get you, guess what? You lose that year. That's the system we live in. Let's see if I can pull something up here. Check here on my screen here. I want to go to share. Let's see if this works here. And just give me 1 second here. Share my screen. And let's see. Is this working? Let's see. Okay, let me pull it up here. First one I want to show you is your furlough papers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see if this shows up here. And I don't know if you guys can see this. Is it working? Let's see here. I don't know if that showed up. Let me try something else over here. Let me pull it up on this screen. I got 2 screens here. I wanted to show you what furloughs are like, what the paperwork looks like. Let's see if I open it here. And let's see. I've got it over here now. Let's see if it lets me share it. And just bear with me here. Okay. Is it coming up? Share. There we go. Now I got it. Now I got it going. Okay, let's see if I can make this bigger for you. There we go. Blow it up. So let me move it down here. And well, this is the conditions of a furlough. That's not the page I wanted. It's the second page, but that's okay. We'll start with there. My inmate. That's what I look like, guys. That's my inmate picture. And so here it says all these conditions. If you violate the conditions of the furlough, you may be considered an escape under section USC-4082 or 18 USC-751, blah, blah, blah. So here's what happens. Furlough will only be approved if an inmate agrees to the following conditions and understands that while on furlough, he or she, number 1, let's blow this up even more so you can see this. So number 1, remains in the legal custody of the U.S. Attorney General in service of a term of imprisonment. Number 2 is subject to prosecution for escape. Let's see. If he or she fails to return to the institution at the designated time. And if they tell you got to be back, so if you're getting a furlough to go to the hospital for surgery and the surgery runs late and you needed to be back by 6 p.m. the next day and the hospital keeps you there later and nobody told anybody, and yes, they can, man, they can add 5-10 years to your sentence, and it was the surgeon's fault. Number 3 is subject to institution disciplinary action, arrest, and criminal prosecution for violating any conditions of the furlough. Number 4 may be thoroughly searched and given a urinalysis, breathalyzer, and other comparable tests during the furlough or upon return to the institution, and must pre-authorize the cost of such tests, so you got to pay for it. If the inmate or family members are paying the other cost of the furlough, the inmate must pre-authorize. Let's see, instead of moving back and forth, that's a little bit more. So basically, you can have your family pay for the cost of. See, I think what they mean is, say you're going to a funeral and it's 200 miles away, and you need a place to stay, you need food, you need a way to get there. The prison's not going to pay for none of that. No bus ticket for you, nothing. When you finally leave to go to the halfway house, they give you a bus ticket for that. But for anything else, no, you or the family has to pay for it. Now they do allow you to pay for it out of your inmate. What you have on your account there, which a lot of people, you hear the word commissary, but you have an account that commissary money comes out of, because the commissary is not the only thing you can buy in prison. There's a hobby shop, different kind of list of things you can buy, but there's email time that you buy. It's 10 cents a minute to go on the True Links. It's Core Links on the outside. It's True Links on the inside. The reason being, I think Core Links is a company that you would go on if you want to get if you have a friend or family in prison and they send you an email. On your end, it's going to come from Core Links. But when us inmates sit in the prison and we have a little like a monitor thing that we go on, it's called True Links, and you receive it from Core Links. And I guess it's two different companies, but they work together. One's on the inside and one's on the outside. So anyways, let's see. Number 5, you must contact the institution or United States probation officer in the event of arrest or any other serious difficulty or illness. Well, that might not be so easy if you get arrested. Can I call my probation officer? You don't have one because you've been in prison. You're not assigned a probation officer until you are released from the BOP. But basically, I guess you need to call somebody. You must comply with any other special instructions given to the institution. Of course. Let me see if I can pull up something else for you guys to look at here. Let's see here. I'll show you. But basically, that's kind of it. There's another page that went with it. I'll show you I'll get to the detainers in a minute. Let me show you special conditions of probation. Well, that's after you get out of the prison. I'll show you the hassle I had to go through to get out of prison, because I had I lived out in San Francisco area. You guys heard of the Golden Gate Bridge? I'm sure you have, right? Well, in San Francisco they have this little track, what's it? I can't even remember the name of it. Fast tracks. So there are these little devices you put on your window, and you load money in them, and every time you cross the bridge, it'll take the money out of the device called so you put money on the account, right? Fast track. You go online or you call up a number and you give money on your debit card, and say you have $50 on there because you cross the bridge every day. And I think the Golden Gate Bridge is $8 now. It was $5, but it went up to $8 to cross the bridge. And I already knew I was going to prison. I didn't pay it. I didn't have a fast track. They're not easy to get. You got to find them at a Walgreens or something. I guess you can order them online. And then I had one once, and when you go to load it, you can't just put $10 on it. Maybe I want to put $8 because I'm going to cross the bridge. You got to buy packets of at least $50. So if you don't have the money, you don't have the money. Anyways, I was going to prison like I could care. I'm like, because you can go across the bridge and they send you the ticket, right? If there's no money on the Amtrak, on the fast track, they will send you a bill, and then you pay the bill. And if you don't pay the bill, I think the first time it goes up to $80 the first 30 days. And then if you ignore it for 90 more days, it goes up to $200, and it bottoms out at like $880. And I had 4 or 5 of them, 7 of them. I don't know. I had a bunch of them, man. And they went up to the $880. I ran into somebody else in prison. They had the same thing in their town, a different state, and they were held, and they weren't able to get released. They were still waiting for it all to get clear up. Somebody else. They goes, I should have been out of here 3 months ago, man. But I'm being detained till that bill's paid or something. He had people working on it. It's like, oh, damn, I did that. I better check, because I'm a few months away from getting released. Or maybe I did it 6 months ahead, something like that. I didn't want to be, locked in prison. I've heard of people signing up for a surgery, and they're waiting on the 2-year waiting list to, get some type of surgery done on their knee or their back or something. So the prison will usually. I waited 9 months to get a hernia surgery, but I asked this first right when I got in there. I had it, and So I came in there to prison with a hernia, and I had no medical or anything when I was out of there. So before I went in, so my head, well, I'll let the government pay for my surgery. They can do it when I get there. Well, the medical, even though they'll send you out, they sent me out to a clinic, but still, it was not. Oh man, this clinic was scary. I think I was it looked like we were in Florence, Colorado, and the clinic was in the nowhere, middle of nowhere, and I swear it was like an Amish community where they took us. And this clinic looked like something from the 1880s. I mean, it was scary, and the doctor too. I mean, everybody was just, but they put me under. So, but yeah, it was scary. And the medical they give you, man, it's the bottom of the barrel medical, and if they have doctors assigned to work at the prison. Our doctor, Dr. Oba, nice guy. He talk your ears off and smile, and always happy, always positive attitude, everything. But they never let him do anything that he would tell you that you needed, or diagnosed or anything. He would kind of do a good job diagnosing you, but that was all great to hear. Never got any of that stuff done. He put in the paperwork for it, but I guess they just laughed at him, or he had fun with us that way. Maybe he got his jollies trying to be the nice doctor and tell us all these things that we're going to do. Don't worry, by the time you get out of here, man, you'll be back to 100% healthy. And he has this great attitude. Maybe he on the side, he's laughing. He's laughing on the inside. I don't know, but they don't pay for much. I've seen a lot of people get released to home confinement so that they could pay their own medical bills. But if you think you're going to get out of going to prison because you have really harsh medical conditions, guess what? They have medical prisons, MCCs. I think there's 3 or 4 of them, maybe 5 of them. So they have a special prison for all the guys that really need, 24-hour round the clock, monitoring and all that. So, and I think most people that go there the way they get released is in a 6-foot box. You know what I mean? Yeah, you go to a medical MCC. Heard the one in Brooklyn, I think, is the worst. God, the horror stories I've heard about the one in Brooklyn. There's a few. I think Seattle has one. There's 4, maybe 5. I could find out or leave a comment or a question. I'll look it up for if you want. Scary place. Let me see if I can pull up the paperwork for the detainer that I had to request. My request for a search for a detainer. Let's see if I can pull this up for you. Go back here. Go on this page here. Get rid of this. Let's see here. No, let's see. Yeah, bear with me. Even though I have this other screen, it's just not working the way I want it to. There we go. Let's see. Detainer. There we go. I had to put in a few of them. Now, let's see if this will work. Okay. And let me check on here. Pull this up. Wish I was a little faster at this, guys. I know some people I just can't do it that fast, but here we go. And let me make it bigger. So I'll pull this down here. So here, this is inmate request to staff. And when you're in prison, if you want to talk to a staff member about anything at all, you normally got to submit a request like this. So I did this for January 16th, 2019, and I got out July 30th. So, man, I did this, 5 months early. I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to get held in there for nothing. So I had to send it to a Miss Jordan. She ran the records department over there at the prison. And I was, there's my number, 18649-111. You know what? I thought I'd never forget that number. And just now, wow, you do forget your number. I've been off probation, 4 or 5 months now. But that number was assigned me. I thought it was for life. I don't have that number anymore. I don't have any number. This is great. And my work assignment was VT Culinary Program ADX, because they want to know your work assignment. So as a camper, some jobs are some people actually go to the little town of Florence, and they work for the park and recs over there, doing different things. Some of them get to mow the lawns at the cemeteries that the city owns. They do landscaping around City Hall and stuff, and then they come home at the end of the day. I hear that the city workers buy them pizza, and some even heard buying them beer and pizza, and just keep it quiet, guys, by the time you get back. And some guys really like that. I don't want to do that kind of labor for 12 cents an hour. That's all they get. Maybe they get 16 cents an hour. Could be a little more than that, but it's not much. Maybe it's $1, $2 a day at the most. It's not much money, but they do it so they can get out and feel like they're free. But then you come home at the end of then you come home to a prison to sleep in. But I went kind of the same way. They have driving jobs. So inmates actually drive. Some people, there's a town driver. They'll drive. So we had a complex of 4 prisons. We had a camp, a medium penitentiary, and the 80X Supermax. And that's where El Chapo's at right now, and the Unabomber and the Boston Bomber, and all the famous serial killers. They're all there. They've been there. Or that's supposed to be the most secure prison in the entire world. And I could tell you stories, and I think I have, about all the food items and other things that have been stolen out of there by the inmates every day, even though we go through metal detectors and 2 different checkpoints and everything else. When we leave there to come home to our camp, you wouldn't believe what's being stolen out there. It's not all snuck out on people's persons. They have other ways to get it out through garbage recycling bins and crazy stuff, man. And then they'll sell that shit. I've seen them take big blocks of cheese and meat and frozen hamburgers. And now these recycling bins are only brought every 3 days. Somebody comes to pick it up. Then it's brought over to a big kind of dump yard, dirt lot thing, but it's just sitting there for another day. And then these inmates who are assigned to go work at the recycling center find the whole cheese, and it's bagged up in plastic, but they find these hamburgers, they find hot dogs, and all kinds of just items, and frozen chicken. It's not frozen 4 days later, trust me. And so 5 days later, I'll be laying in my pocket. Here comes some guy selling cheese, because it's past 2 or 3 or 4 people have stepped on it by the time you get it. And I mean, literally stepped on it. Yeah, nasty shit. I'm not buying that cheese. Some guys had to, tucked under their left nut to sneak in a chicken breast. That's because I'm going to sell fresh meat. I'll just stick it, I'll stick it basically up your ass, under your balls, wherever you can get to sneak it out there. And they sell it. Disgusting, man. I didn't buy that shit. So be careful. If you guys are ever there, don't buy that stuff. Anyways. So let's see here. So you fill all this out, and here's what I go. I go, can you please check for warrants and holds? I also have unpaid tickets for crossing the Bay Bridges without paying in 2016. San Francisco Bay Area tickets, warrants, and I put my social security number on. I want you to see that. And this is what I got back for a response. NCIC, I can't remember, or UCIC, I can't remember what they said. Whoever she checks with, I guess NCIC, what would that be? I have no idea, but it's a service or government agency they check with. It says shows 2 active warrants in Oakland. However, I contacted the Oakland Police Department, Sheriff's Office. They show no active wants or warrants. And then she signs her name. It's Mrs. Jordan. I can't read the first name. Kisias, I don't know. But then she signed her name. So they says I have 2 active warrants. So where I went with that, I'm not getting out of prison. What am I going to do? I thought I crossed the bridge 7 or 8 times, but there's 2 of them anyways. And she didn't say what they're for. So now my head's running. Well, what else did I do? What else did I do? So here's what I got back. I'll read you the answer I got back. That's the answer I got back, but I sent in another one. Let me tell you what that said, because now I got questions. What are the warrants for? How are they for crossing the bridge? And you say I got 2 warrants, but I don't have, they said they don't want me. Well, what does that mean? I mean, am I going to get, you're not really answering my questions. I told her to check for warrants, and she did, but I wanted to know a little more detail. Are the warrants going to hold me here for prison? What's going on? So let me find that paper for you. And that's right here. Detainer. Let me find it here. 2. Okay. All right. And is it coming on? All right. Well, I'll pull it up here, make it bigger. So here's what I asked her back. All right. So then, like as soon as I got this, I guess the next day, when did I put that on the 26th? It took a while to get this first one back. So here's what it says. Here's what I said. Thank you for checking my status for warrants. However, I am confused. Will I be held here on a detainer? Can you tell me what the two active warrants showing up on the NCIC are for? Oh, that's National. Still don't know what it means. National something. NCIC. Not that TV show. I know that. It says, my guess is unpaid bridge toll crossing violations in Oakland or San Francisco. Can you check with Division of Parking and Traffic Enforcement? Question mark. If there are any detainers, can you send them to me? I would like to resolve any holds I have before my release date of July 31st, 2019. Can I see you in person during open house hours at the camp? Thank you. Any advice for me? Question mark. Should I worry? Question mark. And I sign my name. Here's her answer. You should have no detainers. The only warrants that were showing have been cleared. Oh, now you tell me they've been cleared. If you feel there are more issues needing to be addressed, it is your responsibility to get them taken care of by contacting the agencies. Well, that's why I sent you the request. I have no way to get a hold of I have no way to make phone calls out of here unless I get a cell phone. I mean, because in order to make a phone call in prison, you've got to get that number approved by your counselor or your case manager. So I have no way to look these numbers up. And what am I supposed to do? Call every county that I've ever been in, traveled in, lived in, which are quite a few, and ask them to run warrants on me or run checks on me. And I had nobody on the outside that would do anything like that. I had some relatives and cousins that write to me, but they're old, man. They don't. Hell, my aunt she's 90 years old now, but I mean, she was like 96. She'd be 86 back then or 87 years old. Hell, she doesn't even know how to use a microwave. You know what I mean? She's not gonna call around for me. So let me stop this sharing here. So if you have somebody on the outside that is friends with you now, stay friends with them. You might need them. Because yes, I could call somebody to do that for me. I had nobody out there would do something like that for me. But I'll tell you what, guys. I'll do that for anybody right now. And I've done that for people. I get emails from guys in prison, or they call me because you get free phone calls now in prison, 500 minutes a month, 15 minutes a shot. Once you use your 15 minutes up, you got to wait another hour before you can call again, but they're free. So I do that for people. So, always call me, guys. Give me a call. Let me know you're going in and you got nobody. If this happens to you, check it out. I can do that for you. So give me a call. Anyways, I'm just going to kind of probably shut up, call it a day on the video. And I just got to get back into doing some videos. Kind of took a little break there, got off the probation and stuff a while back. But I got to get back into these videos. I got my little prison consulting business been kind of keeping me busy. If you ever need some character reference letters written for you, you need to get a year off your sentence for RDAP, and it's not in your paperwork. I got ways. We've got James Saberi. He is a licensed and approved treatment provider out of San Francisco. You hook up with him and you do on Zoom or on a video call, and he can evaluate you and assess you, and I can help you with all the forms and proper paperwork to get in RDAP. As long as you're not trying to pull a fast one on us, and James will know, he's been doing that for 20 years. So, but if you don't have anything in your paper, your PSR, or anything to prove that you've had an alcohol or drug problem, they're not going to take your word for it when you get there. They'll let you take the RDAP, but you won't get the time off. Anybody can take RDAP, guys. Anybody at all. Even if you've never drank or never done drugs, you could take it. To get the time off, that's a whole nother story. To qualify for that, that's not easy to get. A lot of people don't want to put it in a pre-sentence report, don't know what a pre-sentence report is. That's your 20-page, 25-page, 30-page life history. It's your life history. Some lawyers won't even give you that to fill out ahead of time. And they could ask you everything from the name of your cat when you were in junior high school to, all any family members, friends you have. They want to know your whole history and everything about you, all the jobs you've had, everything you live. You have any money? Where's the money at? What do you got? I mean, it goes on and on and on. I've done some videos, and maybe I'll do another one about the pre-sentence report. And everything on there is what the judge is going to judge you on. Other than when you show up for court and you get maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes to talk to them. I help you guys with that. And your letters, I know it's really hard maybe sometimes to even to ask people to write a letter for you and all. I do all that for you. You just give me a list of names and their phone numbers. I call them up, tell them you hired me, and I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you write this character reference letter. I've got I'll send them a little packet, the do's and don'ts. We'll talk to them on the phone, and I'll help them write it. I can ghostwrite it for them, whatever. And it's all got to be approved by you, approved by your lawyer, and then we'll get you going. Just give me their name and number. I'll take care of everything else. Relax. Because you got so much going on in pretrial, man. So the stress of it all. So you want some help? You got some family members, friends? You think they would do the letter for you? Call me up. Anyways, we'll work something out. The number's on the bottom of this video. It's on all my videos, but it's 505-226-2117. 505-226-2117, guys. Got a lot of services there, but I just want to throw that in at the end. And I'll see you real soon on the next video, guys. Thanks for watching.